Hello everyone, today's poem is Pipa Xing, part 3. In the previous part 2 video, we explored the long lyric and narrative poem, the first part and the second part. It tells how this poem, how this story comes from is by an encounter when the poet see his friends off, see his guests off in the place on a boat. And also the second paragraph is the masterpiece in tongue poetry, describing the music. It's used the wonderful writing techniques and created a lot of the wordings that last till today. That's the best part of this poem. Okay, today we'll continue to explore the paragraph 3 and paragraph 4. At the end of paragraph 2, after the musician finished her playing of pipa, the music, there's a period of silence. Everybody was still with the wonderful performance with the music. And now, at this time, the paragraph 3 started. 沉吟放拨插弦中，整顿衣裳起敛容. So the woman, the musician, he started to talk in a low voice. Before she started talking, she put the pick in the strings and he make up his clothes and appears very seriously. Though that makes the situation very vividly. She's a very professional musician as well as she is very thoughtful when he tried to talk something. 自言本是京城女，家在蛤蟆陵下住. So below is all the wording by the women, by the musician. 自言, she said by herself. She said, I'm the woman from the capital city, from Chang'an. So this is the common point with the poet as well. And I do believe before the women play the music, definitely they have some of the chats between the woman and the poet and his guest. Very probably they already know she was from the capital city, Chang'an, because of the dialect, the pronunciation, the language, the talk, and also a lot of the idioms, local idioms. So here actually is nothing special for the poet, but for the readers, we just know this woman is not a normal woman in the countryside. She's from the capital city. And her home was at Hamaling. So here, it was normally taken as the place of Xiamaling. And for today's people, it's hard to believe why they have such two different names, not only different writing, but also different pronunciations. But for a people in Xi'an today, the previous Chang'an city in the Tang Dynasty, the pronunciation is 100% same. So in the dialect in Xi'an, we call it Qinqiang. Hamaling is Hamaling, So that's the pronunciation dialect in Xi'an, Hamaling. And the formal name Xiamaling is pronounced as Hamaling. So the tone is a little bit different, but the pronunciation is 100% same. And most probably is all same in the Tang Dynasty. And also that's one of the rules in the ancient Chinese, that we can use the same pronunciation words to replace the formal correct words. So in the dialect of Xi'an today, Hamaling is same with Xiamaling. So there's still a place named as Xiamaling in Xi'an today, but we do believe it's a different place from Tang Dynasty, because that Xiamaling is referred to a place, a tomb of a very famous scholar in Han Dynasty. His name is Dong Zhongshu. And though anybody take him as someone was educated person, when he approached the tomb of Xiamaling, he should get down his horse and walk through. And after he get on the horse and continue his walk. So that's the name come from. But in the Tang Dynasty, the real location should be at somewhere in the southeast suburb of Chang'an City, or today's Xi'an City. And today in Xi'an, the name, the place with the name Xiamaling is somewhere not far from the South Gate. That's a totally different place from that of Tang Dynasty. Also, in the previous sentences, the pig clearly tells us that the playing method, the pipa playing method, is different from today. Today, the Chinese still play pipa, but with his own fingers. Yet in the Tang Dynasty, most time the pipa was played by a pig. So this poem reflects the very real situation in Tang Dynasty. 13学的琵琶长，民俗教方第一步。So he learned the pipa skill at her very early age, and by the age of 13, he graduated from the place of 教方. 教方 is an official organization that responsible to teach and play music. But in the prosperous Tang's time, the 教方 became a non-government organizations, but it's still very closely linked with the royal events. And so this girl is telling his background that she's from a very formal musical institute, and 民俗教方第一步, she graduated with the first class rate in that institute. 曲罢曾教善才服，妆成每被秋娘妒. So when he finished a piece of music, even the teachers, 善才 was the name for the teachers in 教方, in that musical institute. So even the teacher was so admired to her skills. 妆成每被秋娘妒. So when he make up her face, finish her makeup. He was jealous by the most beautiful girls in the musical institute. 秋娘 is a very popular name, or normally it refers to the most beautiful girls in that musical institute, 教坊. So here it tells the women, not only with such a talent on music, the first class, even in the capital city, in the half-official organizations, and she also with a very top beauties among those girls. 50年少争缠头，一曲红绡不知数. So when she graduates, she will play the music in that musical institute, and that is a commercial performance, just like the bars in today. Someone is drinking and dining there, and there's musicians playing on the platform. So because she was with such a beauty and a excellent performance, 50少年, the most noble boys, they gave her a lot of money. 缠头 means money, so they compete with each other to give out his money to this girl. So because she was the top one, the most beautiful girls. 一曲红绡不知数. So just by play one piece of music, the reward is 红绡, but here it's not precisely refers to the 红绡. 红绡 is a very fine silk. It could be the fine silk as a reward. It could be the gold, silver, or money. So here it means the noble boys, they all compete with each other to have the chance to give that money to this girl. And with just one piece of the performance, the reward is countless. 50 refers to a place just north to the Wei River. That's the 5 huge tombs of the Han Emperor, and that area was the residence place of the nobles or of the high-ranking officers of the richest people in the capitals. And in the Tang Dynasty, because there's no skyscrapers, you can see those 5 giant tombs, just like the pyramid, but the pyramid is not by stones, it's by the earth, by the clay. You can see that 5 huge pyramid-like tombs in the north of the capital city, Chang'an, and also that's the place of the richest, the nobles, peoples lived. 钿头银篦击节碎，血色罗裙翻酒屋. 钿头银篦 is the jewelries of the women on the hair. 钿头 normally is of gold. 银篦, the comb, the silver comb, that's the silver, made of silver. They use that to make the bead on the table. So they hit the table with that 钿头 and 银篦 on the table to add the beat, add the drum. 血色罗裙翻酒屋, the bloody skirt, that means the color, the bloody colored skirt was full of the spitters of wines. So that's the bar in Tang Dynasty. You can imagine it's quite like the bar's environment today. Everybody's so high, and with such a lot of wines, of wonderful music, everybody is crazy, and everything lost control. 今年欢笑复明年，秋月春风等闲度。So this year we are so happy, and next year we still are so happy because the beauties, the monies, the wines, everything looks so wonderful. And that woman was belonged to the top musicians and the most beautiful girls. Everybody is trying to make a content with her and gave money to her as well. 秋月春风等闲度. So 秋月春风, that refers to the time, the autumn's moon. So that's the time. 春风, the wind in the spring. That also refers to the time passing, but it also implies a lot of the love affairs between men and women. So that's all the things in a very commercial bar, a very nice restaurant. And this girl basically is working in the entertainment industry, and she won a great fortune, and she made her fame as well, and she think she lead a very happy life. 弟走从军阿姨死. So one day his brother was enrolled to the army and gone. 阿姨死, the auntie died as well at that time. 暮去朝来颜色故. So the days passed, and his outlook became not so good, became old. Bai Juyi, the poet, was born in the year 772, basically 10 years after the civil wars. Even the civil wars over, there's a lot of the wars, small scale of wars in Tang Dynasty. The emperor lost his power. A lot of the local regime or local government, in the surface, they still belong to the Tang Dynasty. They pay their respect and to the emperor, but they never obey the order from the emperor. From time to time, there's a war between the central government and local government. So that reflects in this poem is the brother of this woman has been enrolled to the army because the war is endless. So sometimes they still have a very happy and peaceful life, even it was not so glorious or so happiness than the prosperous time before the civil war, but still a quite good life when she or he lived in the capital city. Yet there is so much change. For the poet Bai Juyi himself, it's the same thing. When he was 2 years old, his father had to send him to the countryside to avoid the chaos or some of the wars where he stayed. That could be another explanation to the behavior of this woman or this girl. She actually spoiled her youth life in the bars. Why? Because everybody, the situation is so uncertainty. Something would happen the day after. Maybe the wars, maybe some other things, but it's always linked with the life and death, rich and poor. When the war broke, that means death and poor, poverty. So in the surface, this poem said, because his brother was enrolled and her auntie has died, and she's getting much elder, getting old, he had to marry someone doing the tradings, married to a merchant. So that's the following sentence. 门前冷落鞍马稀. So because she's old, there's no other, not much customers for now. And she had to marry to a merchant at a much elder age. 商人重利轻别离，前月浮梁买茶去. The merchant always look on the money only. They show a contempt for departing, though they don't care about the feelings or the love to the girl, to this woman. So this is referring to his husband. And also, this is a discrimination in the Tang Dynasty because the normal people was leveled high and low. 士农工商, we have mentioned that the farmer and the craftsman is even much superior than the merchant on the social levels. 前月浮梁买茶去. So her husband went to Fuliang, a place name which is Jingdezhen city today. He went to Fuliang city to buy tea. So that was his business, trading the tea. 去来江口守空船，绕船月明江水寒. So after leaved, the women stayed in the empty boat at the river mouth. The river mouth refers to the Yangtze River, where the lake connected. So in the real situation, the boat was in the small lake, 喷浦口. 绕船月明江水寒. So here he used the bright moon and the very cold water in the river to reflect that she feels cold in his deep feelings as well, because the merchant doesn't care about the feelings and the love to his wife, to this woman. 深夜忽梦少年事，梦啼妆泪红阑干. So one night she dreamed back the things happened when she was young, when she was in the capital city, the happy days, the happy hours. 梦啼妆泪红阑干. So even in the dream, she burst into tears, and the teardrops cross all over in her face and mess up her makeup. Okay, this is the third paragraph. That's the story of that woman, this musician. It's a very sad story, the life story. She was born in the capital city and have a very, very happy life. And she was an elite, and also she got the most talent. Now we know that happiness doesn't last too long. Her family broke. Maybe most of the family members died. She had to marry to a merchant who was with the lowest social levels. She had to stay in this remote place from the capital city, 1,000 miles away. Is this her personal sad stories, or is this a common situation that quite similar to most of the people, most of the town people of that time? Let's continue our reading on this poem. 我闻琵琶已叹息，又闻此语重唧唧. So that's the fourth paragraph, and that's the wordings by the poet himself. I heard the wonderful music, and I sang. And again, when I heard the words from that woman, I sang again. So with such a wonderful music, why the poet Bai Juyi sings? Because that wonderful music reminds the best time he had in the capital city. He was once adored by the emperor as well, and now he was at the same situation as this woman, just like the story she told in this remote place, in this remote country. 同是天涯沦落人，相逢何必曾相识. So we are both the people linger around in the boundaries of the earth, in the most remote place on the earth. As far as we encountered, we are friends, no matter we know each other before or not. So this is the most focal point of this poem, and this is the wording last till today, so popular wordings. As far as you want to express your feeling, you feel you the true buddy, you are the true friend with someone, even you two don't know before. You can see 相逢何必曾相识, and especially when both of you are in a very poor and sad conditions, you can also say 同是天涯沦落人. We are both the sad people in the most sad place. That's the very, very popular and famous wording, and this sentence is the focal point of this country. This equals the most low-level woman with this high-level elite person, the poet himself, because the musicians, no matter how much money they got, how big fame he or she got, they are the most lowest level in the social ladders. And Bai Juyi belongs to the most high level people in the social ladders, but with the same feeling and similar stories they share between each other. Bai Juyi put up the words that we are the same people, we are same on every aspect, the feelings, the stories, the life stories. 我从去年辞帝京，谪居卧病浔阳城。I left the capital city last year, and I stayed in this remote place with illness in 浔阳 city. 浔阳, another name for 九江 city. 浔阳地僻无音乐，终岁不闻丝竹声。So 浔阳 city is such a remote place. There's no music at all. The whole year around, I never heard a piece of music at all. 丝竹 refers to music. That's the materials made of the string and the flute. So the string and the flute is the major two big categories of the classic Chinese musical instrument. So 丝竹 always refers to the Chinese music instrument. So at this remote place, I never heard the music the whole year round. 住近盆江地低湿，黄芦苦竹绕宅生. So my house was near the lower terrain, near this small river. So the small river was so called 盆江. 黄芦苦竹绕宅生. The wild grass, the bitterness bamboo trees massed up around my house. 其间旦暮闻何物，杜鹃啼血猿哀鸣. Between the morning time and the dawn time, what may I heard in my house, around my house? The cuckoo bird and the monkeys cries bitterly. 春江花朝秋月夜，往往取酒寒独清. 春江, the spring river. 花朝, so when the flowers blossom in the morning. 秋月夜, in the autumn night with full moons. So that's the normally considered the best time for Chinese. So normally you are very delighted because of the timing, because of the weather. So the poet want to make some happiness as well. So he take the wines. He 往往取酒. He always drink the wines, but drink lonely. So that's not a good situation. The Chinese always like to drink together and have the happiness together. 岂无山歌与春笛，偶雅潮渣难为听. So when I drink alone, is there any folk songs or the flute in the village to accompany my drinking event? Yes, definitely there is, even in this remote place, but it's so ugly played, I can barely hear them. 欧亚招扎 is the sound simulation to those ugly music. So that means even there might have some of the local musician, local music, but as a people, elite people, spend a lot of time in the capital city, he cannot bear with those local music. So all those is describing the hardship, the bitterness life in this place of the poet Bai Juyi. 今夜闻君琵琶语，如听仙乐耳暂明. So tonight, I'm so lucky I heard the music you played. Your performance is just like the music from the heaven. It was such a wonderful music that make my ears functioning again. I can hear music again. In previous nights, previous days, the local music, the ugly music, made my ears deaf, and now I can hear music again. 莫辞更作弹一曲，为君翻作琵琶行. So don't refuse my request. please sit down again and play one more piece of music, and to reward your playing, your performance, I will write a poem for you, and with name 琵琶行。感我此言良久立，却作促弦弦转急。The woman heard my words, heard my stories. She had so many thoughts, and she stand there for quite a while. And then she seated there and tightened string and played the music with fast beat. The rhythm, the beat is turned to be quick and fast. 凄凄不似向前声，满座重闻皆掩泣。凄凄 very bitterly. The music is very bitterly. 不似向前声 doesn't like the music played before. The music played before is 霓裳 and 六幺. That two piece of music is quite famous music in the Tang Dynasty, and mostly played in the royal events, in the big parties. So it should be very happy music. And with the story shared between each other, so they are feeling like old friends now, and they know each other much better now. So the women with the same bitterness, sad feelings with the poet, she chose to play the music that can reflect the feelings for both, the very sad and bitterly music. 满座重闻皆掩泣. So all the people in the boats, when they heard this piece of music again, they all cried, but they are all people with social levels, so they covered their face, 掩泣, so they crying but with their face covered. 座中泣下谁最多？江州司马青衫湿。So among the peoples in the boat, who cried the most, who cried the most heavily, who have the most tears? 江州司马青衫湿. 江州司马 was the position's title in Tang Dynasty, and the very moment Bai Juyi, the poet, take that position. So here it refers the poet himself. So I myself, my blue-green clothes turned all white. So he didn't talk directly, so that's the Chinese poetry. But everybody know that the clothes turned all white, not because of the sweat, his sweat. It's because so many teardrops that made his clothes all wet. 江州司马青衫湿 is a very popular wording today. It's an indirect way to tell someone is so touched. He cries heavily with elegance. Now we have finished all these long poems. So the takeaways from this poem is the masterpiece describing the music performance by poems, the second paragraph, and many very famous wordings that's still very popular in today's life. The Chinese always like to quote classic sentences to express its feelings indirectly and with elegance. Secondly, this poem does not like the typical Tang poem. It's almost a novel, not only because of the length, it's just because he focused so much on the details, on the characters, and also on the behaviors. On this aspect, this poem looks like an epic poem. Anyhow, the stories in this poem has nothing to do with the epical stories in the ancient time. So when we have a second thought, the new musical department is sort of the renaissance to the classic spirits, and this poem doesn't belong to the new musical department poems, but the spirit actually is go back to use the very ancient classic writing techniques and forms to represent the current people, current status. And most importantly, this poem reflects the turning point of Bai Juyi. He changed his mindset totally, his lifelong pursuit, his lifestyles. Before, when he was in the capital city, all his focus is on the people, on the politicals, on the country. And when he was downgraded to this place, he was so sad, but he still don't totally change his mind until this very moment, because this moment actually made him more sad. When he heard the wonderful music, when he shared his own stories with the very bitterness women who also from the capital city. They both have wonderful time before, and they both belong to the top elite in their career, in their field, but they both had a very sad ending by far. And that huge sadness, I do believe, made Bai Juyi changed his mindset, that he stay away from the politics things later on. Let focus on the entertainment, on the beautiful girls, on the wine drinkings, things that 穷则独善其身. If there's no future ahead of me, let's focus on the things of my own business, which is wine drinking, go for the beautiful girls, or have the entertainment you like, and never care about the people or the things around you. So that's the philosophy Bai Juyi practiced after this poem. Whenever Bai Juyi was mentioned, he was most famous for new musical department, 新乐府, that type of poetry. He created the concept, he promoted that type of poetry. Yet, when we go to the exact poems by Bai Juyi, 琵琶行, this poem, and 长恨歌, another very long lyric and narrative poems by him was the most to recited and appreciated poems by Bai Juyi. Okay, that's for today. Bye bye.